Mallacoota is a popular holiday destination, known for its national park, its abalone industry, and of course, its great recreational fishing. Surrounding Mallacoota is scenic Croajingalong National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Reserve. Croajingalong is a coastal park featuring beaches, heathland and rocky headlands. And the 100-kilometre Wilderness Coastal Walk is an icon for bushwalkers. Others just take to the trails on mountain bikes. The park also has plenty of other long and short walks. Gabo Island and Point Hicks Lighthouse can also be found within the park. But the reason that I'm here at Mallacoota is to experience some of the best recreational fishing in the state. Nowhere else in Victoria can you expect to catch both black and yellowfin bream, dusky flathead, and occasionally a mulloway. I came to Mallacoota with a good mate of mine, Chris Parkinson, and together we just wanted to see what this remarkable fishery offered. We started the day off in the upper reaches of the system in fog, but as we reached Cape Horn, we came out of the fog and into the weather that Mallacoota's famous for. Our target that morning was to hunt bream and flathead on plastics throughout the top lake of the system. That's a better flatty, Chris.
Real nice. Early morning, starting to get a few.
Now this is a sport fish that Mallacoota is famous for, dusky flathead. And there's actually a slot limit, so anything that's over 55 centimetres you've got to release, and this guy's probably just a bit over the 55, so we'll let him go. Now, even though it's calm, you can still catch plenty of bream out in these conditions if you cast long and you fish finesse. And by fishing finesse, I just mean just keeping in contact with the lure, giving it plenty of downtime. In other words, no retrieve. You can see there, I'm just holding the rod all the way down the line to the lure, and you'll feel every little bite. A lot of these bream will just tap. You do need to use gel spun. In this case, I'm using 3-pound gel spun and a 4-pound leader, and it's all you need. It's a bream.
Fish, Bill.
Bang me right up underneath the boat.
Nice fish.
Hey, couldn't ask for a better fish than that. And that's what fishing in Mallacoota is all about. Black bream, finesse fishing, and this guy actually took this little minnow grub right underneath the boat. There you go, about 35 centimetres of Mallacoota black bream on a little minnow grub. Get this guy in the water and see if we can crack that one that's maybe 40 centimetres or bigger. One of the attractions in Mallacoota is the famous Mallacoota Foreshore Holiday Park. And this beautiful park is one of the largest in Victoria, drawing people from all over Australia. There's more than 650 camping sites here, but its unique draw card is without a doubt the waterfront sites with their own moorings and jetty sites. Here, you can camp right on the waterfront in your tent or caravan, right next to your boat. Now, if you don't own a boat, that's not a problem at Mallacoota. There are numerous hire boat operators, and there's also kayak and bicycle hire. After fishing much of the morning with soft plastics, we decided to switch to blades in the hope of attracting a large bream.
Go on. Oh, another bream.
All right. Not quite as big as the before, probably about 32 or so, and a little blade. TT, top lake, Mallacoota. Good on you, Chris. Well, we've got something big on here, and it's taken a small blade, but I'll tell you what, it's run all probably about 50, 60 metres on the first run. Here it is, Chris. I'd say it's just a big bream on steroids. It's gone absolutely troppo. It's a cracker. Get a net into that one. It was foul hooked. Look at that. It's a big bream. So right on the death knock, I've got the biggest bream, or my biggest bream of the day. Little blade, and well, ran as hard as any fish that I've ever caught in an estuary system. Probably ran about 75 metres in the first run. Just amazing. Probably mainly because I couldn't turn its head. It was just hooked on the front of the pectoral, foul hooked. Good stuff. Let's get him back in the water. Mallacoota Inlet is one of the largest estuaries in Victoria and is fed by the Wallagara and Genoa rivers. Being right on the border with New South Wales, it offers some spectacular fishing. The growth of sport fishing in Mallacoota has been nothing short of phenomenal, with several tournaments held here each year. Now, if you're looking for supplies, then Mallacoota Bait and Tackle is the place to go. It has everything from the latest lures, bait, rods and reels, camping gear, obviously petrol, and most importantly, the latest fishing information. Among the restaurants located in the town, you'll find the famous Lucy's Noodles. With homemade noodles, dumplings and Peking duck, Lucy's Noodles is one of the region's culinary surprises. Later, we moved into the bottom lake of Mallacoota using shallow diving hard bodies. Black bream were the target, but we had heard there was some pretty decent yellowfin down here as well.
Got him.
Another bream, Chris.
That's good.
I'll tell you what, it looks a bit light. It could be a...
Yellowfin perhaps.
Could be. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, yes. Yes. Now, Mallacoota is one of the few places in Australia where you can get black bream and you can also catch yellowfin bream. And this is a great yellowfin bream. Good size. Let's measure it up and see what size it went. Well, that's all right, 37 centimetres. Pretty good, Chris.
Nice fish, Bill.
Yeah.
Yellowfin too.
Absolutely. We'll get this guy back in the water. Oh, he wants to go too. There he goes. And the lure that did the job, the Warlock deep diver. Good stuff, obviously imitating a shrimp or a crustacean.
So another nice bream. It's late afternoon, that sun's starting to head down and we're starting to get a few more fish.
We're just off on the edge of this reef on the point. Tough critters, aren't they?
Oh, they fight really well. Like, oh, nice fish. That's a better fish. Hooked solidly in the corner of the mouth there. Right, got him. Ooh. There's a nice fish. Oh, nice big flatty.
Nice dusky. Would be probably one you're going to have to release, mate. You can measure him now. Yep. What do you go, mate?
62.
At the top of the lake, and some 20 kilometres from Mallacoota, lies Gypsy Point. Options for accommodation here include the Gypsy Point Lakeside Resort. The resort is located right on the banks of the Genoa River. They all have private verandas and floor-to-ceiling windows, and the apartments offer spectacular views of the surrounding scenery. Chris and I took the boat past Cape Horn towards Gypsy Point and fished shallow running hard bodies, before switching to surface lures to finish the day off. Interesting. Early morning just to Cape Horn, up the river, and classic. Am I using the right lure or not? Obviously not. Little anchovy hooked up on the little diver I'm using. So what I'm going to do now is change over to a minnow style lure that probably dives to about 3 metres try to imitate these little anchovies that the bream and the flathead are obviously feeding on. Perfect example of targeting in on the bait fish that the fish are feeding on. I reckon that might do the job now. Just changed over to an atomic shad 50 mid diver. I think it'll dive and do the job we're after. Certainly the same colour. So let's get that out there and see if we can get a bream or a flathead or two. So when bream are up and about like this feeding on schools of bait, you get them a lot higher in the surface column. So technique that I like to use, longer cast as you can with the wind, crank it down, roll it maybe 5 cranks to get the lure down, and then just work it back in, plenty of hang time. These bream will certainly hit your lure on the pause. Now the reason you just don't slow roll your lure all the way in with bream is that, like all feeding fish on forage, they're going to race through the school, knock a few around, and then they're just going to cruise back again and pick up the ones that have just been stunned and floating around, easier to catch. So if you just wind your lure all the way back, you're really going to need to find a bream that wants to eat hard and fast and catch your lure. And it is actually a big school of bait, just working out here. I reckon oh, look at them all, yeah. See that, Chris?
Out the front of the boat there?
Yeah. Oh, got it. What was that? This may be a marauding tailor that's come up on that bait, or is it a bream? If it is a bream, they're right up on the top. Yeah, it's a bream.
Yeah, it is too.
Let's get this guy in. Look at that. Just changed over to that shad to imitate the bait. Yeah, nice little bream, not a big one. I think we're onto something here, mate. But we've come up onto this more of a plateau, more of a bank, 2.5 metres. All the water around here at Cape Horn's 3, 5 or deeper. And there's this one little patch that sort of comes up to about 2.5, 2.8, not very big, bait all over it. There's that anchovy that I got earlier that they're feeding on. There's the lure. So it's pretty obvious that this lure imitates the fish they're feeding on. So happy days. I'm not going to release fish while we're on this bank. Might spook the school, so we'll whack them in the live bait tank and see if we can extract a few more and let them go a bit later on. So I've just changed it over to a surface lure, and not a popper, changed to a dog. So I'm going to have to walk the dog back to the boat. And there's 2 ways you can retrieve, low stick and high stick. But because my boat's so high off the water and I can clear the surface of the water with my rod tip, I prefer to low stick. Gives me more control and a better walk the dog. High sticking up here is just going to be, just not going to work. So cast long, sit, pop, and then walk the dog. We've got a bit of a breeze and a little bit of a chop. Perfect conditions for bream on surface lures over the flats. Got him! Cast before, just had a fish come up and inquire. Put a long cast out on this one, very next cast, and bang, yes, nice bream too. And if we can get them going on surface lures, there's nothing more exciting. He's a good bream too.
Bream.
Well, Mallacoota and a 40 centimetre plus black bream is almost heaven for most anglers, and when you can get it on a surface lure, it's even better. Mega Bass Dog Junior did the job, and my best bream of the trip. What a way to finish. Let's measure it up and just see if it really is over 40. 42.
Nice fish, Bill.
Yeah.
And on the surface lure, even better.
Yep, that's pretty cool. Let's get this guy back in the water, and Mallacoota, thank you very much. Couldn't be better, especially on the surface lure.
To keep up to date with everything the Fishing Show crew is up to, including our latest competitions and prize giveaways, head over to our Facebook page, AFN The Fishing Show. And if you're keen for content, AFN TV is now free to join with over 1,000 videos at your fingertips, plus tip and tactics from Bill and myself.